Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Thursday night coverage on Freaky Fast Broadcasting of the Stars and Stripes throwback season for season number 6. The drivers and their ARCA machines are going to be now tackling that of the desert here tonight at Las Vegas for that of the Vegas High Roller 200 here tonight. It's round number 9 of the regular season. Regular season is slowly coming to a conclusion. Drivers need to start hitting their marks if they want to make the playoffs, and tonight could be a game changer with how this track has been handling with these types of vehicles. We can't wait to give you for the coverage here this evening. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is going to be Zach Paul. Zach, tonight, Las Vegas and the ARCA machines certainly coming off of a great race last week at Atlanta. Tonight, another mile and a half for these drivers to conquer.
That you said, another mile and a half, and a good one at that also. You know, we just came off Atlanta. That was really a great show, just seeing these older cars take on that older surface. And here at Las Vegas, it's not too dissimilar. I mean, this track has a ton of tire wear, also has a very low grip level, and it could put on quite a show here tonight. So I'm excited. You know, they've been here 4 times in the past here at Stars and Stripes, and we've had some good races in those events. And we got 3 past winners even here tonight racing. So we could see if, you know, one of those drivers could go out there and get the win.
Who can get the win, and as well with it being the 4 times before. The one season that they did not run here was back in season 4 in the Gen 6 Cup machine. They ran here in the ARCA car that was all the way back in season 1. And they are expecting to have good results here tonight, especially on the fact that they have performed greatly. This has been a fun season to cover, watching all the different winners that we've had. Plenty of first-time winners, and that's what we had last week. And we got to see that of Andrew Hess finally breaking into the win column. Joining with them, I mean, we got to see that of Thomas Ogle finally get a win this season. We got to also see that of Diego Valle all the way back at that of Homestead have a great win for himself, showing that there are opportunities for some of these drivers to get themselves in a victory lane. And one of those to watch out for could be Kevin O'Keefe, one of the rookies into this season, topping the board currently here with practice.
That's exactly where my brain was heading to also. Sam was top of the board here in practice. He may be looking to do what the other 3 have done and got a first-time win for him. So he's been, and it's been kind of a weird stretch in my opinion for Kevin O'Keefe lately. I mean, he started off the season so strong, and when we talked to him, he always, you know, he was saying like, man, I think when we get to some of these other tracks, my long run pace is going to be what prevails. And it's been kind of a struggle the past 3 or 4 weeks. So we'll see if he can kind of get out of that rut here and come to Las Vegas tonight and really put on quite a show for us, because topping the board and having speed is important, but it's going to take more than just speed here to win this race.
Yeah, the mile and a halfs have been very much up and down for the 23. He's finished second all the way back at that of Homestead, but has also finished all the way down in that of 23rd back at Texas. So these mile and a half tracks, you never know what you're truly going to find. And then last week, coming away with that of a 10th place finish, Kevin O'Keefe looking for just some consistency. But with that, you know, up and down season, so currently right now, that 23 has had so many good finishes that currently he is up inside of our top 10 in points, which is where you're going to want to be. Top 10 in points is a solid place to be standing for yourself, but we've had so many winners this season that automatically lock you into the playoffs. You might want to hope that you're a little bit higher up in those points totals if you feel like a win isn't possible. But this is the time for one of the best shows as well. Qualifying underway. We've had 8 races so far, 8 different pole sitters, and Zach, could number 9 strike here tonight?
It very well could happen here tonight. We'll have to see here. Here's going to be one of the heavy hitters trying to go out there and sit on pole. Had the fastest time like we just spoke about in practice here, Kevin O'Keefe in the 23. Can he replicate that here in this qualifying session? No draft, all by yourself, and it's all about hitting your marks and making sure you do not have any slight bobble or mistake, because you can lose hundredths of a second that could be vital for that pole lap. And, you know, it's very possible we see that 9th different pole winner, because it's been a very mixed bag when it comes to qualifying this season.
You know what makes this even interesting? This 23, he was the fastest starter in practice, but if he gets the pole, he's going to break that 8 streak of drivers in 8 different races, 8 different pole sitters, because he got the very first one of the season all the way back in Daytona. Can he be the one to strike it gold here tonight for this 23? Kevin O'Keefe going to be already starting aggressive, staying low through 3 and 4. Lap number 1 going to be done, and let's see how these first laps are going to trickle in as they get ready for the money lap on that second go around.
First on the board so far, as he's the first one to put a time in. Valle comes in with a 31.28 for his first lap. Then Offerman now going to go second on the board with a 30.78. So those first couple laps, not the fastest ones. Let's see if the second lap up the speed is the one that beat, because Kevin O'Keefe will be the first true test here for us, coming around out of 3 and 4. Can he produce similar speed that he did in practice here? As he's going to cut the apron, shorten the distance, and try to make that lap a little quicker.
Try to be a little bit quicker, but looking at the times, it's not going to be faster for Kevin O'Keefe. It's not going to be faster for that Derek Offerman. Valle with a great qualifying run for the 77. He'll be third, and it looks to be Zach, a lot of quick drivers, but they won't stand. It's going to be Ross Tatum first. Nate Lynch going to be bouncing up to second place. And Ross Tatum, where did that speed come from for the 21?
What a lap from him, and definitely some speeds are down from practice, so looks like that draft maybe played a factor. Also, the track changing a good bit here has also had a factor too. Is Kyle McCoy, he goes to second on the board there right behind Ross Tatum. Great lap for that 28 who's trying to break through into victory lane this season. And yeah, great speed for Ross Tatum, was second fastest in practice there, and I would not be surprised to see that 21 hold on to this here, as we got still some good drivers left to go, but can they top that time is going to be the question.
And if Ross Tatum's time holds, that would be 9 races, 9 different pole sitters for this season. We get to see the 22 machine of Brian Lynch. He's going to be trying to go and aim for a top 15 qualifying run. It'd be an incredible top 10 run for this 22, as currently other times are trickling in. Dylan Grimm back to where he was at earlier in the season, 3rd place for himself. Aaron Hale, though, the 40 machine, 4th on the board. That is a surprising note to see by the 40 machine. He's been having a off couple of weeks. That's a great run for himself. First lap for Brian Lynch, going to be 18th fastest. That's the slowest of all times currently. He's going to be looking for a recovery run here on this go.
If we are to see 9 different pole winners through the first 9 races, that would be such a feat to be pulled off by this group, because I mean, that just shows the consistency, the stackness of it, with all the drivers being able to compete with each other and show really that there's not one dominant guy out there. It's anybody's game when it comes to the group. And so far, it looks like Ross Tatum holding on with only a few more cars left to qualify.
Not going to be fast enough to bounce up his time. That for the 22 of Brian Lynch. Here comes that of Zach Kreitz. Kreitz, incredibly quick last week on the long run. The 9 machine hoping for some quick speed here for qualifying. First lap in for that of Kreitz. Going to be 20th fastest, as Thomas Ogle's going to be just missing out in the top 10. Into the top 10 after their lap. Going to be that of Andrew Hess, who had the pole last week. But Kreitz here, Zach, can he top the board?
Will he find the speed? And like you said, he had so much speed last week at Atlanta. The ending didn't play out like the way he wanted, but had great long run speed. Let's hear if he shows the short run speed here on this lap. That's 30.79 to take him up to the 17th spot on the board. So a little bit farther forward, but just not enough. But here comes another one. This is Joshua Robinson through 3 and 4. He's been fast all season long. Can he sit on pole here?
He really made a true mark into the positive range 2 weeks ago at Rockingham. Here tonight, he got the pole 2 weeks ago. Will he get the pole here this evening at that of Las Vegas? And it will, breaking the streak, and it's going to be that of Joshua Robinson with that of 3 seconds left in qualifying. The 10 tops the board. It will not be 9 races, 9 different pole winners. It's going to be our first 2-time pole winner this season of the 10, getting it done. Well, with qualifying done, that's our first little excitement. We now get ourselves ready for the featured event here tonight. It's the Vegas High Roller 200 at Vegas, 133 laps. And here's where the drivers are going to be starting off here tonight. We got to see incredible runs there at the end, and it's the 10 of Joshua Robinson getting the pole. Ross Tatum, so close, but didn't get it there. He'll start in second place. Kyle McCoy, winner back in season 1 when they were in this car at this track. Will he win here tonight? We'll have to find out for the 28. He'll start 3rd. Dylan Grimm, great qualifying time. He'll be 4th. That of Aaron Hale, he'll be 5th. Andrew Medley going to be 6th. 7th's going to be Dylan Glass. What a qualifying run for the 29 as well. That of Timmy McNally going to be 8th. Andrew Hess, winner from last week, he'll start 9th, with that of our Daytona winner, Christopher Wade, out there in 10th place.
The one machine and Nate Lynch is going to take it here in the 11th position. Kevin O'Keefe, fastest driver in practice, going to end up 12th in qualifying. The 31 of Thomas Oval, he's going to start 13th, with 14th going to the 25 of Trey Jackson. Our points leader and driver who's dominated majority of the season is the 32 of Sky Record. He'll start 15th, right directly ahead of the 16th place car of Derek Offerman. 17th is going to go to the 8 of Jason Gratton, last season's winner here at Las Vegas. 18th is going to go to the 9 of Zach Kreitz. 19th is going to be the 6 of Will Bustler. And rounding out the top 20 is the 77 of Diego Valle.
Valle drops low, but can he recover? We'll find out. 21st is going to be that of the 41 of Jonathan Woods. With that at 22nd position, going to be George Kovacic. 23rd is going to be that of Brian Lynch. That of Juan Jimenez is going to be in 24th position. 25th is going to be Ed Perry. That is going to be your full list of drivers. Expecting 25 drivers to tick the green. We'll see if all of them can get gridded up and who might have to start on pit road. But up front, going to be the 10 and the 21 getting that front row. Here's Zach, Las Vegas. We got a small preview last night for the Wicked Racing League as they were running in that of the Next Gen Cup car, which kind of now is just the current Gen Cup car of the Gen 7. But we're throwing it back to the ARCA machines. What are you expecting to see here tonight with these cars?
Well, these Gen 4 cars, much less downforce, a little bit less horsepower also. So I expect to see some interesting racing, I'd say, to least. It's going to be, I think, at some points multi-grouped. You can be able to make something happen on the bottom or the top, especially through 1 and 2 here. I think 3 and 4 is going to be dominated by that bottom line. But I think the one thing that can carry over from both cars, from the Gen 7 to this Gen 4 here, is that tire wear. Las Vegas is notorious for it. It's always known to eat the tires up, and it's kind of an interesting track where you start off with so much grip and the grip starts to fade away very quickly here in the desert. So I'm expecting these drivers to, some of them be managing like we've always seen here through the past weeks, and then some just going all out and trying to get track position. So you're going to see those two different battles going on throughout the night. But 133 laps here, they're going to solidify it here for sure once we get it going with that buzzer beater pole lap for the 10 machine.
It's going to be 133 laps, like you said there, Zach. Only that of 3 extra sets of tires in pit road. No fast repair. And tonight, it could get hot for these drivers in sim. It's going to be the middle of the day, as it's only that for the track temp, 113 degrees. It can get hotter from there. We'll find out what the heat's going to bring as these drivers hit the restart zone, and we're green for the Vegas High Roller 200 here tonight. It's going to be that of Joshua Robinson, Ross Tatum down into turn number 1.
Great start from the leader there at Joshua Robinson, and he's going to be looking to carry the momentum, like you said, that started back at Rockingham, and he's just seemed like he's never left off it there, as we expected coming into this season after such a great run in season 5 that he would be right at it. But it's took him a little bit of time, but he's found the pace. But here comes the 3-time champion, Kyle McCoy. He's able to take the lead, as I think different agendas are going on, different drivers trying to get to the front.
We're seeing drivers that are saving, some that are being aggressive, and already side by side. Our pole sitter drops from the first lap down to 4th place. It's Kyle McCoy, who started in 3rd, going to lead lap number 1. And we're already seeing, like I said, the different agendas. Who wants to fall backwards? Who's going to go forwards? We've seen Ross Tatum do the same strategy of backing off. But you could also do the similar thing that we saw Ross Tatum do last season of backing off too much, as the 40 machine of Aaron Hale is going to take the lead. The 40 going to be leading the first lap for himself here tonight on lap number 2.
Saving and managing your stuff is always a fine line. If you give up too much speed, like you guys talked about Ross Tatum at some points did last season, you just can't make it back. But if you do it just perfectly, you are usually the driver to worry about as the run continue on. And I think that's one thing that factors into these fixed setup leagues. All of our leagues here are fixed setup. That means every single driver has the same equipment, same setup underneath them. They have equal equipment pretty much, whereas normally you would see in a race where there's different setups out there, drivers are just going to go full bore at the beginning, and it's going to come down to the setup and how it wears the tires. But it's about how you drive the car and how you manage those tires here with these fixed setups.
That's 2 laps led by the 40 machine of Aaron Hale, and that is going to equal the same amount of laps that he's led all season long coming to this point. He's now doubled up as that other race that he led at was Michigan. That was the racetrack that he had his best finish of 9th place, and right now trying to pull away. But is it too early as we hop on board with the 17 machine of Dylan Grimm and get a sense of what it's like to run here in 4th place as he's seen his competition pulling away, but the mirror is certainly full.
Mirror is definitely full there with, you got that 29 machine of Dylan Glass. He's up in the top 5. You got Andrew Malin jumping to his outside, and then Kevin O'Keefe from his tough qualifying spot there. He's already driving up into position. And it's just showing again, like we talked about the different agendas. Well, drivers are showing that right now. I mean, you had the pole set of Joshua Robinson. He's back to 12th. You had Kevin O'Keefe who qualified 12th. He's up to 7th, and he almost fighting for a top 5 here coming off the floor.
The thing that makes the Stars and Stripes so more interesting than some of the other leagues that we cover here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, I know similar thing on Saturday nights, there are no stage breaks. Stage racing really can change up how you look at racing if you want to be aggressive in the first run or patient. But when you have races like this where there is no stage racing, you could throw away your race here just in this first stint, Zach. And that is such a weird thing for these drivers mentally, because I know most of these drivers run multiple leagues.
Yeah, and you can easily go caution free, and I think that's what the factor of no stages come in. We've seen it multiple times here at Stars and Stripes where they've gone a full race distance and had no yellows. And like you said, if you have a bad first run, there is nothing to fall back on. You have really no crutches, nothing like that to help you. You got to go out there and figure it out straight away. And if you don't, you could be in tough positions as the rest of the race goes on. I think it is a cool factor to see from the other leagues where you use those stages to really learn. Not here. You got to be right at it as that green flag drops.
One of the few drivers that are already right at it. Kevin O'Keefe is already up to 5th place. He's the second biggest mover so far here tonight in 5th position. You can see him, that a little orange dot in the middle of the path that you're seeing riding on the back window, as there's the 23. 5th place currently right now, up 7 positions. But the biggest mover right now, it's the 2 fan favorites side by side back in that of 8th place. It's that of Jason Gratton and Dylan Glass side by side. It's that of Gratton up 9 positions so far.
He was so good here last season in the Gen 7 Cup car, winning this race, and it really kicked off his run in those playoffs. So could tonight be his chance to get into victory lane? We could possibly see it. He's been building up as the seasons went on. We've talked to him more and more as he's had better runs. Tonight could be his chance here with a tough qualifying spot. He's already well up the grid here and up into 8th.
And this is one of the more interesting things with the ARCA car. It's what we call the offset. You can see the steering wheel. It looks like he's not even pointing straight. He is purposely, the steering wheels are set up like this. And Zach, you can break it down a little bit better than I can.
Yeah, that steering wheel is all set to the right because that car is built to go left. It is not built to go straight. It is made to turn around these corners. So you actually have a little bit of offset, like you said, Sam, built into the steering rack to make that car want to actually pull down left, so you don't have to crank on that wheel as much. The more offset you have to the right, the less wheel you're going to have to put into it to turn the car. So it kind of is more of a feel thing for drivers, and I know a lot of drivers will actually run a good bit of right offset to kind of make it where when you're in that corner, you're not cranking on that wheel and turning it 45, 90 degrees to where it kind of gets a little bit tougher to get that leverage that you would have on the wheel.
And the joys of virtual racing, we get to pick where the cameras are at, as you can see here on the 8 machine, which you're talking about how the drivers are trying to get that turn in, and the way this body work is trying to help these drivers going through the corners. As this 8 machine, again, Jason Gratton, biggest mover so far, up 9 positions, as he's been watching a great battle in front of him of seeing that of a lot of drivers trying to make their decisions on where to go. But behind the 8 machine is one of the drivers that's known to be dominant at this racetrack and most mile-and-a-half tracks in past his seasons. It's that of Scott Rickard, who's right now sitting in 11th place. But if we look back to last week, it's not the worst place that we've seen the 32B.
No, it is not. I mean, you can never count this guy out. I've seen multiple races this season where he's kind of, mid-pack, just riding. And we're wondering, man, what's up with Scott Rickard? And then all of a sudden you look in the last 20 laps, he's right there in the top 3, top 2, battling for a win. So don't count this 32 out just because he starts farther back. I think as this run goes on, we're going to see him march forward, as he's just shown this season to have just that prowess to be able to figure out how to get this car to work on the longer runs and really be able to outdo his competition in that zone.
and he threw it out there. We've had 3 of our past 4 race winners here in this race. That is Scott Rickard's one of them. Jason Grattan, who we're just looking at, was the other driver, and currently the driver in second place, Kyle McCoy, was that third. Will one of those 3 be able to get in victory lane again, or could we see Aaron Hill, who is still leading the way, Zach? Somehow the 40 machine is keeping this distance 14 laps in, because this is around that window we're expecting the swing of the drivers that were aggressive start to fall back.
This is where you will see the time start to fall off for drivers that have overworked those tires and really caused them to lose grip. And looking at the pace, I mean, Aaron Hill, he's still the fastest car in that top 5 position. I mean, even the fastest car on the racetrack. So he's doing a great job still in the 40. But, you know, I think it will take a little bit longer here. I think once we get about 25 in, that's where you're going to really start to see separation when it comes to lap times of drivers who've used those tires and drivers who have saved those tires. So I think we got to watch here in the next 10 laps the drivers starting to go forward. But it's gonna be one of those ebbs and flows tonight with this track, because again, like I was talking about earlier, it just has so much tire wear.
As we're seeing that Scott Rickard trying to set up, we look even further behind. This is where our pole sitter is. A heroic run there late in qualifying with 3 seconds left in qualifying, stealing the pole away from that Ross Tatum was Joshua Robinson. Robinson doing a little bit more saving than I think anyone could have predicted by the 10. He is fallen all the way back to 14th position, and he's now just mired with that of Will Bustler, which Bustler has been looking pretty quick for the 6 as he's trying to find his way to go forward. He's up 4 positions, but Zach, this is an interesting call by the 10 machine.
Yeah, I'm kind of questioning it a little bit, because how much time he has given up. I mean, he is 4.2 seconds back from the leader Aaron Hill. I mean, you've got to make up a ton of ground as the run continues on, and that's going to be tough to do. I mean, you know, yeah, you can be fast enough to make up that ground if the leader was 4.2 seconds ahead of you and you have nobody in front of you. But he has 12 other cars other than Aaron Hill in front of him that are going to slow down the progress when you try to start making moves and going forward. So it's, again, one of those tight ropes and fine balances that you got to find when you're managing tires, of not giving up too much track position and then also saving the tire. So it's kind of one of those things where if you don't do it right, you're going to be in a bad position, and if you do it right, you're still going to be in a bad position because you gave up so much time.
Well, here's one driver that was trying to be aggressive. That's the 29, Dylan Glass. He's now falling back to that 13th position in the clutches of the 10 machine, as well as Thomas Ogle was on the move. There might be a little bit of swappage action as Ogle, the last lap, got by Dylan Glass. Glass now trying to set up for this pass. Not able to, as he's actually going to be staying box to the outside. Here comes the 10 machine. Going to be making the push to that 13th position, as different lanes being shown here, Zach. I mean, we're seeing this last night with a lot more of downforce showing from that of the Gen 7 Cup machines. This ARCA car, though, that doesn't look like it's as friendly with how high some of these drivers are running there.
It really does not. Yeah, this track is interesting, too, in my opinion. The grip level on new tires, it'll work up on that top side. But in 3 and 4, I've always just felt as a driver myself that if you can get to the bottom and make the bottom work and be as close to that white line as possible through the center and off the corner, you're just going to make tons of speed, because there's just a ton of grip down there. So I don't think the top side down there in 3 and 4 is going to be the greatest way to go. But I could see in 1 and 2, we see a little bit of action happening there, because that corner does have some interesting characteristic to it, with the bumps being very predominant on that bottom line. It makes that top side a much better option, in my opinion.
As we're starting to see this group of drivers, group of 5, continue to be on top of one another. That's 4th place back to that of 8th, that just cannot find a way to get off of themselves, and it's going to be that of Christopher Wade, Kevin O'Keefe leading the charge side by side. Andrew Medlin tried to make some passes on these drivers. Nate Lynch and Jason Grattan just sitting in wait, and they've got to be making these moves and passes quickly. Scott Rickard is setting up to try to get by these drivers quickly.
And he is, man. He's definitely turning some fast pace compared to the drivers directly ahead of him. The only driver running faster times is Ross Tatum and Kyle McCoy. So if he can make quick work of this group that's so stacked up in front of Scott Rickard, then we could see some big things happen there, as Joshua Robinson still stuck back in this pack, even with last week's winner of Andrew Hess, is it seems like making the passes on the bottom have been tough, as it seems like the outside line has been working a good bit here, and drivers have been able to hold each other side by side. And that's what your biggest fear is if you've one of these drivers who've lost all this track position. If you get stuck on that bottom lane and 8 people are able to roll the top on you, you just cannot make, you know, the ground up that you need to get back up there. And a lot of times you'll end up hurting your tires trying to get back through that traffic.
Yeah, and we're now also starting to see this gaggle of drivers is being led by Thomas Ogle in 10th position for the 31. They're slowly trying to catch up to that group that we were talking about for the battle for 4th. But this is getting dangerous. Drivers that have been saving their tires, trying to move forward. Others that have used up their tires, starting to show a little bit of, you know, weakness through the center of the corner, where the cars just seem to like they want to drift up. That center of the corner grip no longer there, and it's starting to cost some. And almost a couple of rear ends have been lifted here with that of Dylan Grimm. Timmy McNally giving almost a bad bump to one another. And also for Dylan Glass, he's able to hold his breath after there were a couple of close moments as well.
The front tires must be starting to give away. That's where you see that pushing syndrome of shoving up the racetrack with those front tires overheating. I think that's what a common syndrome these drivers are starting to feel here is, like you said, Sam, it's getting interesting here because it's starting to stack up from Kevin O'Keefe back in the 4th position. I mean, you got Nate Lynch, Andrew Medlin, Scott Rickard, who's just slicing and dicing through them right now, picking the right lane. And that's what sometimes you have to do. If you don't pick the right lane, you don't go forward. If you pick the right one, you can go forward. So you got to be able to choose the right one. But right now, everybody seems to be struggling from 4th on back.
Yeah, 4th all the way back to that of 18th position. About a second and a half, almost 2 seconds is the difference between this whole entire large pack that just continues to grow. Or top that of 3 are gone and starting to have their own battle as Aaron Hill's being caught by Kyle McCoy. But this is where the danger zone is. This could be the catalyst of a first caution that could come out. Now, this race has had a 0 caution race. They went green all the way through. It was all the way back in season 2. But every race besides that has had either 5 or more cautions in every race, because it gets to this intense moment and drivers start to make mistakes.
One mistake and a lot of people are out of this race quickly. So got to be strong right now in this opening 27 laps and not be able to make those mistakes that can take yourself out. But I'm telling you what, you're going to have to watch out for the Tide Machine. He is making the drive through the field. He's now up to 4th, and he is making passes look easy, high, low, any lane possible. He's got those front tires in a good position. He's got a long way to go to catch up to our leaders, but he is going to be a threat before this race is over, in my opinion.
But if this race stays green, there's plenty of time to recover from here, because there's plenty of opportunities for pit strategies, as we're seeing 3 different defined lanes being used through the corners. This is when things get fun. Who's saved their tires? Who's making the charge forward? Well, we know the 32 is, as he has gotten by those of the top, that of 4th to 8th place in a breeze in just about 5 laps. But the rest of the field has caught up to this group of drivers of Kevin O'Keefe, Andrew Medlin, Christopher Wade, and also that of Jason Gratton and Nate Lynch. The question is for Thomas Ogle, Dylan Glass, and others that are behind, how do you carve through this field? Because right now it seems like that of Kevin O'Keefe is starting to hold off drivers as we hop on board with the 18 machine. Andrew Medlin, his driver can, as he's trying to hold steady on the inside.
He is fighting right here, guys. He has been on the bottom, stuck here for multiple laps, trying to get past Kevin O'Keefe, who I think is kind of the bottleneck in this group here. He seems to be running that top side and doing a good job of making speed and momentum up there, and that's what's making it tough to get passes done on that 23 machine. So good job by Kevin O'Keefe doing that there, but he is somewhat, I think, of a bottleneck here for this group. But again, like you said, Sam, 3 different defined lines there in 3 and 4. And that's what you got to give applause to this racetrack here at Las Vegas. One of the best tracks when it comes to being able to be multi-groove racing. And once again, it's just showing here how good the racing can put on, with Andrew Medlin going back to the bottom side, trying to make the pass on that 23.
Trying to make the pass, but it's so difficult when you don't have enough momentum going straight into the corners, as drivers in the middle of this pack jostling back and forth to McNally and others able to settle down as they enter turn number 3. It's going to be side by side for about that of 2 or 3 rows, but it's going to be Kevin O'Keefe sliding up, had to get off the gas as we hop on board and get a sense on what it's like to run this outside lane for Kevin O'Keefe. He's being passed by that of the 18 machine. Andrew Medlin finally getting through.
Kevin O'Keefe paying the prices for being aggressive early in this race. Started back there in that 12th position and just marched his way to the top 4. And right now, those front tires are feeling the brunt of all of that hard driving at the beginning. So he's definitely trying to hang on to what he has here. But you can see it's a stack up. You got Joshua Robinson, our pole sitter. He's starting to come forward also with the speed shown from saving those tires there. But it's just nowhere to go for this group. It's when you get stuck behind someone who is struggling, especially on the outer lane that Kevin O'Keefe is doing, it makes it tough to make the passes. If Kevin O'Keefe got stuck on the bottom, it'd be different, but they're wrecking.
They're wrecking. It's going to be the 15, spun around down on the inside wall, and he'll keep it off the inside pit wall, I believe. And Zach, what's crazy about that, it was a big spill, but it was only one true driver involved.
Ooh, it could have been a lot bigger than that, and lucky for the 15, he got a little tiny hit on the rear bumper, but it was not big at all. I mean, didn't even really damage the car. So I think what we'll see here is just a slight tap from the 23 to that 15, and with these cars already on edge, it's tough to hold on to that machine.
And with us just crossing over the 34 lap marker, that means we got 100 laps to go in this race. Now the question is, with 3 extra sets of tires in pit road, do you decide to take that set of tire or take one of those 3 now? As there's that bump we were talking about, unsettles the 15, lifts up the rear end, and away he goes.
So easy to be done like that. And, personally looking at it, it looks like the 15 running the bottom there, Wade trying to make the pass on Kevin O'Keefe, just got a little tight on the exit, maybe had to lift out that throttle just a tiny bit, and the 23 just could not react fast enough, lifted up the rear end of the 15, and that sent him around there. And again, just a tiny little hit to the rear bumper on the inside wall, and even looking at myself with a better, closer vantage, he has no damage. So the 15 will be back in business here. He's just lost a ton of track position. I think that's what's going to be more than anything hurtful to him.
As this caution flag comes out, one driver that's still out there on track, that's Ed Perry, who was about to go a lap down if this race continued to stay green for that of the 42. Decided to start on that of pit road for this race. Luckily was able to make it into this race without going a lap down. But the rest of the field, 4 tires and fuel. They're going to get ready for this restart. The 42, though, here, Zach, this is an interesting call if he doesn't come into pit road this next time by. I believe he was trying to get that 1 lap lead, get the bonus point, and then maybe settle in back in the back half of the field.
Unfortunately for him, I believe he only crossed the line in 9th. So don't like he's going to get that bonus point for leading a lap. And especially when these drivers come back here and catch up, he'll pull into pit road at pace speed, whereas pace speed 60, pit road speed is 50, so he should lose the lead to Aaron Hale here when he comes down the pit road. And, a good try there to get a bonus point, but a big thing for him is he started from pit road like you were speaking of, and now he'll be caught up to the field, and this will allow him to be in a much better position for later in the race. So we'll see what Ed Perry can do as he does decide to come to pit road and give that lead back up to Aaron Hale, who was, excellent job by Aaron Hale that run, just controlling the race and able to really get to the lead and hold everybody off.
Yeah, I mean, it just took him 2 laps to get to that lead position, and he has not looked back since then. I gotta say, this is an incredible run from that of Aaron Hale, who's looking for a decent run overall. Again, these races this season been kind of rough for that of this 40 machine. His best finish so far was 9th back at Michigan. But for that of Hale, he's going to need this type of a run here tonight. He's 20th in points. And these are these performances late in the regular season that you need if you're going to make it into the playoffs.
You're exactly right about that, Sam. You need these type of performances. And, if he can go out here and win tonight, that'll take away a lot of those woes that we've seen from him this season. And definitely turning things around here tonight for himself. Hopefully it can end up well, because I know he's had a few bumps and bruises throughout the season. It's just now about fixing those up and carrying the speed that he's had here tonight into the next few weeks. So we'll see how it works out for the 40, but also can't look too far right behind him. The 32 Scott Rickard now with this caution, it's brought him right to the back bumper of this front group. Let's see what type of speed the 32 has now that he's got some good track position.
Good track position, fresh set of tires, and what have the drivers learned after that 33 lap run We're now going to be having the pace car pulled off, and it's time for us to get back to green flag racing. It's going to be that of Aaron Hale. Kyle McCoy, your front two, as the Vegas High Roller is back under green here tonight.
Another excellent start, but it's the one that comes from the outside in the 28 of Kyle McCoy, who was able to get one of the best ones I've seen from an outside row so far. And he's able to hang tough, but through the corner, Scott Rickard able to pull alongside and actually get a nose ahead here as they catch up to the back bumper of the 40, heading down the back straightaway into 3. Can Scott Rickard take over second?
And for Scott Rickard, he really needed that caution to come out to reset this 32 machine. It just looked like his speed kind of stalled out, and he was 3 seconds off the leaders. We're not going to be able to catch up to them under that green flag run. But now with this reset, we're seeing drivers trying to learn, trying to get a little bit more aggressive. They don't want to lose touch to our top 3 again. And talking about top 3, let's go 3 wide in the middle of the field.
Ooh, it's getting close there with the 18 of Andrew Medlin there. He's fighting strong. He's got the 8 of Jason Gratton, the 29 of Glass, and it clears up for the 3 wide for the moment as they go into 3. But they keep it 2 by 2 here from the 8th or the 6th position on back. And right now, everybody trying to get track position because I think they've seen its track position is very, very valuable. And while this is even going on, I think Kyle McCoy, he's noticed track position is valuable. He's trying to go to the outside for the lead up front on the 40 of Aaron Hill.
Trying to make the pass for the lead through the outside. A great run out of the exit of turn number 2 when it's going to be that of the 28. Diving it into turn number 3. Side by side still. It's got to be a better run out of the exit of the corner if you're going to make this pass on the 40 machine. The fresh rubber, though, allowing Hale to continue to keep it side by side. And Kyle McCoy still yet to fully commit to this pass, but he is certainly going to give it his best effort here once again out of turn 2.
Fighting for everything here off of 2. The big run's going to come from the outer groove, and Kyle McCoy almost clear the 40, just not able to do it. It's going to allow the 40 Aaron Hill to pull set back side by side through the middle of 3 and 4, but can the top side prevail here off of turn 4? It looks like the 40's holding strong though on that bottom side, but I think one more time through 1 and 2, you'll see that 28 clear, and he does off of 4 here.
Get it clear, and that was so necessary because Scott Rickard was licking his chops, recognizing if they stayed side by side for another 2 to 3 more laps, that would be setting up the 32 just to make a breeze of a pass later on in this run. But they're able to settle in, and let's see how far that of the 28 and the 40 machine want to pull away. And also, we talked about that of these top 2. It was also Ross Tatum in 4th place that was sticking with those drivers that pulled away completely from the rest of the pack. We'll see how that 21 wants to readjust on this go round as Scott Rickard keeping himself in line, but it's Jason Gratton as well. He's done a great job, now currently in that 5th place.
The one thing I'm seeing in this race so far is you do want to save tire, but you don't want to give up positions to save tire. And that's a tough position to be in as a driver. Pretty much what you need to do from there is make sure you're making speed, but you're not overworking the tire. That is a tough thing to do personally from inside the driver's seat. And that's where really the skill and the talent shows from these drivers who were able that last time to really just keep themselves right up front and utilize that track position. Because we see once it gets stacked up back there later in the run, it's 2 by 2, and you have to be able to get to that outside groove with somebody because making the pass on the bottom is just so tough.
As we do want to give an update of one of the drivers that pitted late out of the 42 machine of Ed Perry. He has called it a night. Actually got a black flag for pitting after the pit road was closed and decided, you know what, I ran my laps. I'm just going to do a start and park as Ed Perry is done here this evening. Don't know if there were any other complications, but there are starting to get aggression, and that's up front for the lead once again. Aaron Hale doesn't want to settle for 2nd place. He's going right back for the lead.
That 40 has noticed that clean air is huge out here, folks, and he's going to try everything in his power. He's doing what Kyle McCoy did earlier to try to make the pass, and the 40 Aaron Hale fighting strong up front.
Aaron Hale been in that of the Stars and Stripes almost since I mean, he's been here for so long. Has over 83 starts in his career. He's been here since season 2 in this 40 machine, hoping to get himself into victory lane. He has 1 win in his career, and that was all the way back in season 4, back at Dover when they were running in that of the Gen 6 Cup car. And this 40 machine looking like he is poised to go for another win for himself. He wants to get the win to make it into the playoffs. He was 20th in points coming into tonight. Why not make a splash here late in that of the regular season?
Let's see, can Kyle McCoy fight back into 28 here on the outside? It's just showing me these two are wanting that clean air. If I'm Scott Rickard and Ross Tatum, I'm loving everything I see right now. These two are worried so much about getting the clean air and racing each other hard here that they have to be overworking the tires running this side-by-side line. And personally, that outer groove is what's going to really heat up the tires more than anything with the speed you carry up there to make those passes. If you're at 32 and at 21, this is what you love to see.
I mean, I'm loving this action, and this is incredible to see from that of Aaron Hill, if anything, from this 40, because this is one of the more dominant showings that he's trying to perform up front. I mean, his best run ever was that race that he won at, where he only led 8 laps for that race. Zach, he's already past that window of leading more laps than 18. And that is incredible to see from this 40 machine that we always would notify in past seasons and throughout the season. Is he's known as a driver that qualifies poorly, but is there at the end. Here tonight, he qualified 5th, and it's been the go button since the start. But now we're starting to see the threat of this 32. It's Scott Rickard closing in. And Zach, this was the one thing that these drivers up front were concerned about with that last caution that came out.
No doubt. They see the 32. They got to be knowing something bad is up. And look at this. With McCoy trying to go to the inside of Hale, he is not able to get the run off of 4. This allows this 32. He's now side by side with the 28 of Kyle McCoy. And he is poised here to push himself up into position. And now, even if you're Ross Tatum in 3rd, you're liking what you're seeing. All 3 of these drivers battling. So you got to be definitely thinking, man, if this continues on, these guys are going to hurt those tires, and I'm going to be able to push myself up into that battle also. And great racing we're seeing though here so far with these guys. And woo, close action between the champions.
I mean, the champions, Scott Rickard, Kyle McCoy, they both have 20-plus wins between them for each of them coming into tonight, as a history of the Stars and Stripes have been dominated by that of the 28 and that of the 32 machine. They just win every season, multiple times a season. Kyle McCoy's got the most championships, but Scott Rickard, we know, can get it done, as he's got his championship all the way back in season 2 in the trucks. But all the way on the outside, defending is the 40, continuing with this run. But like you said, Ross Tatum, he's coming in with that Jason Brad, Kevin O'Keefe. It just seems like the whole entire field that was just settling and learning. It was the learning of let's be patient as the aggression is there for the 21 getting to the inside.
He saw the door open up. He took every shot he could there and got to the inside of this 32, who was said, you know what, I'm going to back out of this and get to the bottom. Not now. The 21 is here to play. The 8 of Jason Gratton, Kevin O'Keefe, like you said. Everybody here stacked up as we got a 2x2 battle for the lead up here.
Once was stacking up in the middle of the field side by side for that whole entire first stint. It's now for this lead that we're seeing the side by side stacking up. It's 2 wide, 2 rows deep, and it's that gonna be Jason Gratton has to pick and choose which lane he wants to help out. He's gonna move up to the outside lane and get more drivers in line. The draft help on the straightaways goes to that of Hale, and with the momentum out of the corner, it's just gonna be helping as the 28 drifts up on the exit of the corner. Luckily, they both go with as one up high, but that outside wall is still a solid object. You gotta be careful on the exit of the corners as you continue to race on.
And we've seen it plenty of times this season. Hard contact to the outside wall can easily break a wheel in these ARCA cars. And even sometimes you have that effect where you climb the wall with this car. So it can really upset you if you get out of the groove and get up into the wall. And now if they're in hell clearing the 28, I'm seeing signs of some front tires that are hurt because the 40 not able to get to the bottom, had to really push the car through the center there to get the speed off. This is going to be a mixed bag right here with this racing that we got going on in this front position. I'm excited to see how this plays out, and this just shows you what a caution can do. You get that one caution, Sam, and now all these drivers have a fuse lit underneath them, knowing what they got to change from the previous runs they had.
I mean, we're now going to be 19 laps into this run on these tires, and at the start of the race, when we were 19 laps in, it was our top 3. They were gone, dusted, and it was 4th on back that were battling around one another. Currently, it's our top 13, all within 2 seconds of one another. This is incredible to see, the fact that everyone has kept it close. They're keeping it jam-packed, and it's only going to get closer and closer in the next 10 laps on who's going to be in that lead position.
That it really is, man. This is going to be fun to watch as even Ross Tatum, he's trying to go forward and make passes on Kyle McCoy, but it was the 8 of Grattan who got to his outside. Luckily for Tatum, he's able to close the door there, but look, it opens up the door now on the inside for the 8 machine of Grattan, who's going to go down to the apron. First driver I've seen do that all night and use that shorter distance around to go forward. And even in front of them, Scott Ricker going for the lead up front. This is just a revolving door drivers.
And it's going to be Aaron Hale out of the exit of turn 2. The momentum was there, and it's going to be Kyle McCoy following suit, side by side for second place. The 32, he's got to make this dive bomb move work a little bit more aggressive, as the 40 machine really got good rotation there through 3 and 4.
That he really did. The 40 did a great job. I mean, once again, Aaron Hale just showing what he's working with here tonight, able to really keep this car in tune, even though he is going very, very fast up front. It's definitely helping having that clean air on the nose that enables you to make more downforce than the drivers behind you who are stuck in that dirty wake of the air coming off the rear of these cars.
And looking at the last times, that last time by, top 14 drivers, all within about a tenth of one another. The speed is incredible. Everyone's keeping up at the same pace and rate. But again, if we go into an extended long green flag run, if possible, I mean, this could change up a lot of factors. As you see the hands are being worked on by that of Nate Lynch. He's in 9th position, but under heavy pressure as everyone's been single filed up here. But it's about to get side by side in just the blink of an eye, as behind this one machine, it's going to be Dylan Glass, that of Andrew Medlin, side by side for themselves.
That they are. Everybody battling hard here, trying to still go for it. It's crazy to say, like you said before there, Sam, how many drivers we have in a straight line. I mean, it is 13 cars battling for those top 13 positions that have only been separated by 1.5 seconds. It's just showing here that everybody's got pace. The competition level stiff here at Stars and Stripes. And right now, we got some stiff racing. Is this the 31 of Ogle? He's trying to continue his way forward to make the pass on Nate Lynch and also maybe get one on Dylan Glass.
You talked about it during that first initial green flag run on that you want to have the positioning, but you also want to save at the same time. And that's exactly what I'm starting to see here for the drivers over in the back half of this group. They were keeping up with pace, but at the same time trying to find that patience on how to save their tires. And they're making these runs work. Watch out for that 6 here later in the run, where we got to bounce up to the lead because they're side by side for there. It's Kyle McCoy, Aaron Hale, right back at it for round number 2.
Once again, it just seems like it's never ending here. The 28 able to get back to the quarter panel. Good run off of 4. Going to pull dead even as they cross the line. They're going to have a little bit, about a half a car ahead here, heading into 1 and 2. And I think this is the preferred place to be if you're up top, is on that 1 and 2 side of things. And I think out of 2 here, you're going to see this 28 go to the lead.
Takes the lead, and following suit, gonna be also the friend Scott Rickard making the charge as well, as he's almost fully cleared for second place. Aaron Hale, it was a valiant effort, but coming to close to the halfway marker, the 40 machine is gonna fall to now that of 3rd and maybe more. The tires, they were strong, but not strong enough to hold out for a whole stint, as Kyle McCoy, the driver that won this race, this same car, all the way back in that of season 1, he's up to the point, the 28, trying to hold on as he leads the charge with that of Scott Rickard behind him. Ross Tatum, these 3 machines know how to get it done.
That they really do, man. These are 3 of the drivers I would say coming into the season that you probably circle as the title favorite. So to see them here duking it out here at Las Vegas, what a better way, not a better way to have a race here, as we are having a great one so far. As McCoy, man, I'm so impressed with how well he was able to work his way back into position. Could this be his shot to go for his first win this season? And that's crazy to say. I mean, we have seen him have regular season struggles before, and it's been the playoffs that he's always just came through with great moments. But can he get the ball rolling here at Las Vegas tonight? This could be his chance.
Yeah, I mean, for that of Kyle McCoy, he has had, he's been running kind of a partial season so far. He's only ran that as 6 of the 8 races this season. Now this is going to be his 7th start of 9 races, so he's missed out on 2, so he's deeper in that of the points. But this is a normal thing that we see from Kyle McCoy. Usually it's that second half of the regular season that he just steps it up. He starts to get into that good momentum for the playoffs, and then he just never lets off from there. And like I said, this could be that flip the switch type of a race that changes everything on his trajectory. But Scott Rickard, on the other hand, for this 32, he's been on it since the beginning, and he's been looking like the form all the way back from that of season 2 when he won the championship. So it just looks like we could be starting to see the two Titans clashing once again for another classic playoff run. But it's that of Ross Tatum as well, who came in showing out here tonight. And like I said, that third factor that could change up and just try to steal away that championship this season, or just steal away the win here tonight.
Ross Tatum, I mean, he was one of the favorites, last season. Didn't get that championship like he wanted, but he was so strong in that Gen 7 car. It took him a little time to get developed in this ARCA car, but it's all happening here tonight in the 21 as he's able to get back past Scott Rickard. And even look at this, Aaron Hell in the 40. He's starting to fight back, showing some drive out of those tires still left in the 40 machine. This is a really great race so far, and we are starting to see our first bit of separation. Our front six all the way back to Andrew Medlin from Kyle McCoy. They're starting to separate themselves just a little bit as Kevin O'Keefe and Thomas Ogle battle back there for 7th.
I mean, isn't that interesting? It seems to be Kevin O'Keefe's that valve again that drivers are trying to get by as he continues to fall back. The tire's just not there for himself. But the driver that's on the move, like I said, to watch out for, up to that in 9th place, about to be up to 8th, is Will Bustler. He was sitting that at 13th that whole entire run till this moment. Those tires looking good for himself, but Andrew Medlin, Jason Gratton, they've been trying to follow in the same tire tracks as Ross Tatum on the saving the tires run. They haven't been able to advance forward. We'll see how well they can do, as this is the lead of that second pack.
Leader of the second pack, like you said there, Thomas Ogle, as they were both, him and Will Bustler, like you were talking about, able to get past Kevin O'Keefe. Is now Andrew Hess right behind him in the 5. He's able to do a similar thing, but Will Bustler, I think, like you said, Sam, is going to be one to watch out for. He has been going forward in this race, and he always seems to have good long-run speed, so I'm expecting big things from him. As now we get to see Juan Jimenez and also Dylan Grimm and Dylan Glass here. They're battling up here for the 11th, 12th, and 13th position.
Juan is right now that 48 machine, our biggest mover so far. He qualified that all the way back in 24th position. He is now up to 11 and soon to crack into the top 10. Here's Diego Valle in the 77. Didn't qualify as well as he wanted here tonight. That has been the reoccurring story for this 77. And it just looks like he's not been able to find that comfort zone. You'll also find that of Derek Offerman and also Christopher Wade. This is shocking to see the 15 and also our pole sitter Joshua Robinson back here 20th and 21st for the 15 and the 10.
Just not making speed for that group there. So tough breaks all around as this Trey Jackson the 66 here, George Kovacic back in 24th, kind of all by himself here, about 3 seconds back off that group ahead of him. But I tell you what, it's going to be fun to see because we got Trey Jackson and Brian Lynch here for 22nd and 23rd, but we also have the lead again somehow battling up front as Ross Tatum, he's found some speed, and now he's gone to the inside of Kyle McCoy up front for the lead. So it's a three-way battle right now because those three seem to be opening a little bit of gap back to Aaron Hill.
I mean, if you're Trey Jackson and Brian Lynch, it's okay that you're off the pace this much because honestly, with the way that we haven't seen some of these front runners driving, there could be a big one that strikes at any moment with the way that these drivers were on top of one another. But it's Kyle McCoy staying strong on the outside lane, continues to defend his position. Ross Tatum, though, able to get to second place, able to get by that of Scott Rickard, and just holding steady. I think for Ross Tatum, it's not a make a pass now type of mentality. It's wait, let's see how the tires run through, and if I just have the natural speed to just blow by this 28 machine.
That it will have to be. He'll need that speed, but I tell you where speed's at. It was the guy we were talking about before, the 6 of Will Bustler. He is closing in on the leaders, folks. 32.57 to our leaders, 32.56. So matching times while making a pass. That's a big factor also there. Thomas Ogle showing a good bit of speed. Andrew Hess. That whole line on the outside line that's going around the 8 of Jason Gratton right now, they are all making great speed. If they can get around Aaron Hill and Andrew Medlin pretty quickly here, we could see that 6 up into that battle for the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, really could be seeing that battle here quickly. And seeing that trail of drivers on the outside, that of Ogle, Hess, and Juan Jimenez, those drivers looking good. And this is a great run by that 48 machine who took over for that of Scalise. And it's great to see Juan having a good run here this evening as he's been, again, that first stint So much knowledge was taken into those first 30 laps when that first caution came out. Able to learn on the tires what you had to do for the next run. It's allowed some new factors, new drivers to attack and be on the move, as Andrew Hess doesn't want Ungle to be the leader. The 5 machine will move up to 7.
What a job by Andrew Hess there, last week's winner at Atlanta. Doing a great job, able to pass his teammate there, Ogle, up to the 7th position. And Jimenez has got to be the driver to watch out for. His 3 wide down the back straightaway. The 6 of Bustler, the 18 of Medlin, and the 40 Aaron Hale. They're all going for it here for a top 5 positions.
I don't think Medlin was expecting the 6 to continue to just hold it steady, and it forced the 18 to have to get aggressive on the throttle there, using up a little bit more tires than he wanted, but able to make the pass over that of Hale. And now Bustler setting up again to try to make the pass as we look back at Andrew Hess, looking and seeing what madness is going to happen, as that of Juan Jimenez is going to be making the pass on the 31 of Thomas Ogle here onto the straightaway.
It is just passing going right now down here at Las Vegas. And the guys who are patient, you brought it up, Sam, they were just patient, kind of riding in the back of this line, just kind of keeping up, not really trying to go forward. They're starting to show that patience is paying off here as they're gaining track position and gaining confidence. But as last week's winner, Andrew Hess, he's trying to make a pass here for a top 5 position.
It's kind of, you allow the driver in front of you, be the spearhead, use up your tires that you've saved up all this stint for, and then make the pass gently the next lap over that driver that just used up his stuff. It just is a constant domino effect of, you go forward, I'll pass you. You move forward, I'll pass you. And it's just the drivers have been saving tires, working together to get themselves into the top 5, as the 5 machine has gotten himself there. But again, few more different opportunities to go for the pass. And talking about the pass, you can see it there on screen for the lead. To the inside is Ross Tatum. He's trying to slide up, not fully clear, but now will be. But here comes the run. The 21's going to defend. Where will Kyle McCoy go here in turn 3? It's to the middle. Not able to close in on that gap, and Ross Tatum finally takes that lead position.
What a job. That was so tough to do. He got almost clear in the center of the corner, tried to slide up a little bit, and that actually took away the line from the 28 that he wanted. He had to go up the racetrack a little bit. That caused him to get a little tight. That slips Kyle McCoy back to 2nd, and now even 3rd is Scott Rickard and Ross Tatum. They've shot out to the top 2 positions and are trying to drive away, as Ross Tatum looking strong once he's got some clean air.
And some drivers trickling into pit road. 2 so far have already done so. Dylan Glass is coming to pit road. Nate Lynch has trickled into pit road. We'll see if any more in the middle of the pack decide to come into pit road this go around. Looks like they're not. That's interesting. Early pit stops. This is right around the window if you're trying to push it as far as you can go, that you can make it from here. But Zach, that's putting a lot on these tires. But we are 44 laps on the stint for these tires and fuel. So this isn't the worst case scenario to come in now.
That is not, man. This could open up that door for the pit stops, and with the way it's playing out right here, I would not be surprised to see a few come down very, very soon, knowing how their tires are starting to fall off. And look at Andrew Hess, last week's winner, never gives up, man. This 5. If we got a long run speed award, that driver that makes up the most spots through a run, it's got to be given to this 5 machine. And look at this, we might even get 3 wide off of 2 as the 18 thought about it.
18 into the wall, holds on, going to be a little bit of contact to the 6 as he's going to be adjusting away from the 18. They keep it straight for there, a little bit of a scare, but somehow they keep on rolling. As for that, Will Bustler, frustrating moment. He was trying to save those tires and had to back off. That's lost time. You cannot afford this late into a run to just give up. Now, might have to change up the strategy call on where you want to go, but it just seems like he's right back to the wick. It's trying to make this pass again on Andrew Medlin.
Everything here happening so fast as Jimenez up into the wall almost. He scrubs it and now keeps himself going forward as he makes the pass on Will Bustler. So Jimenez up to 6th. Can he drive himself into the top 5? This would be great for Juan.
I mean, Juan M. Jimenez just trying to make himself known here in this league here tonight. Had his debut last week at that of Atlanta. And it was just one of those things where he was just trying to, test the waters, see where he was going to lie with this field. And here tonight, onto the long run, started all the way back in that of 18th position on that restart. He's now cracked the top 5, trying to make the pass here on Andrew Medlin.
What a drive for this 48. This is great to see for him, as He's all over the back deck lid of that 28 coming off of 4, and the 28 sliding up. That's going to open up the door for him. Not enough a run, though, there to get to the inside, as now he's going to still have Andrew Medlin there, and that's the tough position to be in. When you have that car on your outside, it is so tough to be able to hold that position back. And, man, I tell you what, we're seeing some struggling going on right now, as even Scott Rickard, he's dropping into the clutches there farther back, and Andrew Hess has got around him up to second. And with the speed Andrew Hess is possessing right now, he might drive up to the lead.
He really honestly could. He is about 2 tenths faster than our leader. He's the 5 Andrew Hess. He qualified in 9th place. He fell back, thought maybe he's being a little bit too passive, too patient. And he is proving otherwise. Almost 3 tenths faster that go around as more drivers coming to pit road. Aaron Hale 2 laps ago was in pit road, and now it's going to be Kevin O'Keefe and Jonathan Woods coming into pit road this go around. But for the lead position, I mean, Zach, if Ross Tatum doesn't come into pit road this lap, he's going to be caught by Andrew Hess by the end of that next lap.
Not only Andrew Hess, but Juan Jimenez, folks. And look, you called it, Sam. He's coming down this time. He can't wait no longer, and he's going to hit pit road along with Kyle McCoy in the 28 machine. They're coming down, and they're going to get service done. Looks like Jason Gratton's going to follow him down also in the 8. This is going to hand over the lead to the leader of the winner of last week there of Andrew Hess, and Juan Jimenez, the fastest car on the racetrack, 32.74 last time by. He's driving forward.
He is the fastest driver of drivers that are on the old tires. And over the radio, Scott Rickard announcing he's coming into pit road. A lot of the pack has to avoid this 32 machine, which could be disastrous with how many drivers are on top of one another. There goes the 32, the 6 into pit road as well. And this is a time where you cannot afford to make mistakes. Zach, it'd be very costly if drivers over the radio are not clear, because this gaggle of cars could be where the madness strikes.
It really could be, Sam. You have to be clear, concise, let people know if you're coming to pit road, and you have to be paying attention if you're one of those other drivers out there. You can't just blank out and just be focusing on your driving, because you could quickly run in the back of somebody. Looks like leader Andrew Hess is coming to pit road, the 17 of Grimm, also the 31 of Ogle, and the 18 of Medlin. So pit road getting real busy, but the lead is now swapped hands. The 48 of Juan Jimenez up front.
Juan M. Jimenez leading the way for the 48. Had his debut race last week at that of Atlanta. He started 25th in that race, finished 12th, and did not lead a single lap. Here tonight, he's leading them for sure, as he is going to be leading the way. Again, we're in the middle of green flag pit stops. But if those drivers that came into pit road decided to stay out, this 48 was something to watch out for. Into pit road, it's going to be the 48. Here comes the 12 as well, as now it's going to give the lead to the 77 of Diego Valle.
Diego Valle, folks. Look at this. Late in the race, up to the front position. Has been a quiet night for this 77. I don't even think I've really even noticed him out there too much. He is having one of those quiet nights. It could end up being a good one, though, as he was very quick that last time by, 32.95. If you're running 32-second laps now, you're looking very good when it comes to the pace, in my opinion. And he's staying out another lap here as Kreitz behind him in the 9. He hits pit road. This 77 going for a little bit of an overcut here to have the fresher tires at the end of this race.
Yeah, I mean, for Diego, this has been one of those seasons where he was the shining star for the first 5 races of the season. He was just someone who would qualify late in the pack, but you knew would just drive through and be up front. Then had a very poor finish at Dover, and he's just been under the radar the last 2 weeks. And here tonight, doing the similar strategy. Last 2 weeks, he's finished in the top 10. He's hoping for that same goal. Again, just trying to get some good points. He already got his win back at that of Homestead, so he's locked into the playoffs. Let's just take it easy, get the knowledge for this ARCA car, and that's exactly what the 77 is doing, as we've got 4 drivers still needing to hit pit road. It's Diego Valle, Derek Offerman, Trey Jackson, and George Kovacic. As we're coming up to that of 43 laps to go, the chaos is just going to ramp up, so let's take the quick break now, because this might be the only time for us to take the break, as we have been watching that of the Vegas High Roller 200, as the 77 coming into pit road will step aside, but you won't miss a thing as we go side by side here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Hey, if you're looking for a great league to watch on Saturday nights, go check out the WSSR as they will have more racing coverage this Saturday for the WSSR. And guess what? My co-commentator here tonight, Zach Hall, he races in that. So can't wait for it. Thank you for joining with us. My name is Sam Dyer. With me again is that is Zach Hall, Robert Moyer Jr. Running Productions in the background. As well as we got to give big shout outs to the Stars and Stripes sponsors that help them out all the time. It is incredible to see them help out, and you love to see when sponsors help out leagues here on iRacing. One of them that's in almost every league, and that's Buttkicker. Feel what you've been missing. And as well, big shout out to Next Level Racing. Get yourself set up for racing action with some Next Level Racing. As the drivers are on track, they've all come into pit road. They should be good to take it to the end. And right now, it's Aaron Hale leading the way. The only issue, he's only got a second gap over that of Kyle McCoy in a 5-lap difference entire where McCoy with the advantage, and as well that of Ross Tatum, Scott Rickard, they're all in tow, drafting with one another. Zach, this is it's not looking good for the 40 for a win, but what a run it's been here tonight.
What a run it definitely has been for that 40 machine. Led majority of that first part of the race before they had that caution. And I think he's just going to end up a little bit short here tonight with having pit so early. But he kind of had to. He was struggling, falling back. They were having used up those tires racing for the lead. And I think it's going to be tough to be in his position here coming down to the end of this thing. Because with that tire difference, when these three get to him, it's going to be a fight that might not last very long just due to the grip levels that he's going to have. They're running about 2/10 faster than him per lap, and we could see some fireworks fly with that. And tell you what, Scott Rickard not looking too bad. He's on 15-lap old tires compared to the guys in front of him with 16 laps. So he's got that 1-lap difference. Then you'll have Andrew Hess about another 1-lap difference from Scott Rickard for him in 5th. This is going to heat up quickly.
It certainly is, and through all the pit cycle, there were issues for some drivers. Is that Zach Kreitz staying out a little bit longer than he wanted to. He's only back in 24th position, and as well going to be that Dylan Grimm held with that of a penalty for himself. You hate to see it for some of these drivers, but it's those simple mistakes that can be so costly from a good run to a bad run in an instant. As we are coming up to that of 30 laps to go here tonight. We've only had one caution that was only back at lap number 32, and it's just been a simple night so far for the rest of this run. It's been clean, green, but also a little chaotic at moments. It's been great to watch these drivers, but the lead, it has been cut down. It is here. It's Kyle McCoy, Ross Tatum, Scott Rickard. Now the question is, Zach, where do you go to make the pass on this 40?
That is going to be the question here. I think it's the outside. I think you got to get to the outside quarter panel, go around him. That'll be the quickest way to get it done. And I think already Kyle McCoy, he set his sights on that. He drives through the center of the corner out to the out quarter panel of the 40 and is able to make a quick and easy pass, in my opinion, here. That's not going to have too much detriment to the tires, and even backs up the corner a good bit there in the center of 3 and 4 just to make sure he has the run coming up off. But here comes the run from behind. Look at this, how much momentum the 21 and the 32 had there on the 40 as he tried to hold on to that position.
Tried to hold on, but then just gassing it up was the 21. Almost a little bit of drafting, but keeping in line is that Ross Tatum. It's Scott Rickard on the outside lane, but the 40 machine of Aaron Hale. What a valiant run, but it could still be his best finish of the season so far. His best finish so far was 9th, all the way back at Michigan. He's open for a top 5 finish if possible, but he's got to hold on and hold out for less than 30 laps here this evening. But Kyle McCoy, that of Ross Tatum, Scott Rickard, these 3 drivers pull away, but with the quick little hold back that they had, Andrew Hess is now caught up to draft, and the 5 is starting to close in.
I think Andrew Hess is the one to watch out for, they should say. So we'll see how he's able to make it work here. And we're looking at Jonathan Woods right now in 7th. He was actually the driver that pit the second early, very close to one of the earliest pits there, other than Dylan Glass, Aaron Hell, and Nate Lynch, who are in that top 11 positions. He was one of the earliest drivers to pit of that, so he's hanging on pretty well. But as we see here, the 5, this is the one I think we got to watch out for. He is flying forward, and he was so fast to end that last run. It could be 2 in a row here if we're not if this 5 keeps this up.
It definitely could be someone to watch out for. A driver that went a little bit more on the conservative route, that of Juan Jimenez, who was up front with that of Andrew Hess, pitted that on the same lap as the 5. He is currently 4 seconds off of that of the 5 machine, but he is currently trying to make his charge to finish inside of at least the top 7. He is that of Juan, but here comes Andrew Hess trying to make the quick work of Aaron Hale. Needs to make this pass quickly because each lap that ticks away is lost ground. But at the same time, the patient approach could be the key way to get himself into victory lane for 2 weeks in a row. Like we said, he's been one of the fastest drivers on the long run at almost every track we've gone to, and he's trying to settle in. He's going to have to make a great push here as we're closing in to that of 20 laps to go.
It is closing down to the end here for these drivers, no doubt. Great job there by Andrew Hess to make that a clean pass and not overwork the tire. You never want to make a pass that's just going to overwork the tire and take away a lot of the advantage you had before. But he's going to have a tough time now as he closes in on this group ahead. These guys have been strong all night, and the big thing and the big factor that's going to be different, in my opinion, than that last run we had during that long green flag run before these green flag cycles happened. We've seen a lot of side-by-side action where drivers were going outside, inside, trying to make passes on each other in that top 3 or 4 positions. This time has been much more single file, much more confined to the bottom. Those tires haven't gone through that overworking condition that you get when you change lanes. And really, when you run that outside lane, you get some terrible heat buildup on those tires. They haven't had that condition this time. I think you might see a little bit better long-run speed from this front group here. Ross Tatum, I think, might be the one to watch out for this.
I mean, with Ross Tatum sitting there, but again, I mean, Scott Ricker's got that 1 lap advantage, and he's been hooked up with the 21 this whole entire time. So Scott Rickard, in my mind, could also be one of the favorites to watch out for. With Andrew Hess, I don't know how the 5's been pushing it. Yes, he's been slowly catching up naturally because he's got the 2-lap fresher tires, then that of Kyle McCoy and Ross Tatum. But at the same time, is this 5 maybe pushing a little bit more aggressively because he knows he needs to close in on this gap before he runs out of time and this race is over? He's got a limited amount of laps, which means you got to be slightly a little bit more aggressive on getting back on the throttle, which is going to hurt those tires on the long run where he was so great before. And he doesn't have the draft that was keeping him in touch with the patience route on that last stint before this green flag pit stop run. But for now, top 5 drivers all within practically a second of one another. Aaron Hale isn't completely out of this, but he's going to need some major mistakes from our top 4 as we've got ourselves 112 laps in. We're closing in on 20 laps to go here tonight. And what a night it's been here at Vegas for the Vegas High Roller 200. Kyle McCoy trying to hold on. As you see here, it's going to be the 77 Diego Valle. Once again, Zach keeping himself out of trouble and is in a good spot to try to go for another top 10 finish.
That he really is, man. This kid just never gives up. He has had a quiet night tonight, but this quiet night might end up being a very, very good run, and that would be good signs for him because it's been a tough few weeks. He started off this season so red hot. I mean, he was the talk of the town, in my opinion, at the very beginning of the season, and it kind of cooled off a little bit. Still struggling with those qualifying positions, but it kind of showing what he had earlier in the season of making up time as the race goes on. And with the freshest tires of anybody out there, he is going to be able to make up a good little bit of time here. I could see him maybe even possibly driving up maybe close to around a top 7, maybe even a top 5.
Yeah, you're talking about those qualifying woes. I mean, take away the Sonoma start for that of 6th place at Sonoma. It has been 14th place back at Daytona to start the season off. You take away that, it has been 17th or worse for that of Diego Valle in the qualifying runs. Finishes-wise, though, he's only finished, outside of the top 10 that of 3 times this season. The 77's just been broadly just consistent at all times as he tries to continue on. As you see here, one of the drivers just trying to hold on for dear life, but currently just struggling is that of Joshua Robinson, who got the pole, gave up so much time in the beginning, and Zach, it just seems like the race pace wasn't there for the 10.
This is a head scratcher here for me personally. I mean, he has, been one of the best drivers in my opinion when it comes to those longer runs so far the past few weeks. And I think maybe just oversaved here. Tonight of the Reckoning.
Will Bustler, hard contact in the outside wall for that of the 6 machine, and also going to be the 31 of Thomas Ogle. And the 6 looked great as we were about to come to the end of that of our green flag pit stops, but no longer going to be a great run. He has got a blown engine. It is done for that of Will Bustler, and just tried to grab a little bit too much on the grip, and it went wrong quickly. And Zach, what was looking like a good, clean run of just their top 4, who's going to beat out this race? Well, throw that out the window. Get ready for some chaos, because this is what brought out our second caution of the day.
Yeah, looking at this here, at first I thought the 6 kind of washed up the racetrack there, but taking another look at it, in my opinion, it was actually the 31 coming down the racetrack. There's a seam on the racetrack, and that 31, I think, was just trying to turn down, carry the momentum from that entry, and it just ended up connecting with the 6 there right on the middle of the corner. And man, that happened so fast. I mean, that freaked me out when I seen it happen. And 2 really great drivers involved in that one. And this right here is gonna set up some interesting finish for us here. Everybody's still with 1 set of tires. Pit road's gonna be super busy as it is right now, and I cannot wait to see how this plays out, because we saw how side by side and how hard everybody could go at the beginning of these runs last time we got those cautions. We're about to see some more of that action, and it's gonna be all over the place.
As it's going to be 16 to go as the field call comes into pit road for that of Will Bustler, Thomas Ogle, the only 2 drivers involved with that incident. It is going to be required damage for both, as Kyle McCoy beating out and going to be the lead driver as he comes out. Scott Rickard going to be 2nd, Ross Tatum 3rd, Andrew Hess 4th, 5th goes to Jason Gratton. That of Juan Hernandez going to be in that of 6th. Jonathan Wood 7th. Aaron Hales to be all the way back in 8th place for the 40 machine. Not a great that of pit road stop for the 40. I believe he overshot his box, had to back up. Tim McNally going to be 9th. 10th it's going to be Andrew Medlin. And Zach, all the drivers that we talk about, the long run, they look so great there. Throw it out the window. It is all about pure aggression to see who's going to get the win here tonight.
You're exactly right. I mean, you can't save now. You have to go full bore. We've seen earlier in the race, Aaron Hale was so quick on the short runs. Maybe that's the 40 machine's going to be able to march his way up. The only problem for him, back in 8th, and with everybody going a lot harder here on this run, it's going to change the aspect of things. You know, I look at the drivers like Andrew Hess. He's going to have to change up his style. We've seen that 5 always be conservative. No conservative thoughts right now. You have to go full bore all the way to that checkered flag if you want to go out there and get another victory for yourself.
And also going to be taking the waiver round under this pit stop, going to be that of the 17, Dylan Grimm, as he's going to be taking waiver round, as well as the 9, Zach Kreitz. Kreitz was 7 laps down, going to be now 6 laps down, taking this waiver round. They're waiting for the one to go to marker, and then they can race to get to the tail end of the field. Is currently, with that of Dylan Grimm getting this waiver round, going to be 21 drivers on the lead lap. But Kyle McCoy, Scott Rickard, Ross Tatum, also that of Andrew Hess, Jason Gratton. Looking at this group, I mean, Scott Rickard got a little bit of taste on early aggression, but I would have imagined Kyle McCoy might be my favorite here to watch out for, and Jason Gratton. They have been the 2 drivers that have practiced on being aggressive early on. Scott Rickard, this is going to be tough to see who's going to have the true advantage on this restart.
It's going to be fun to watch, I think, because a lot of times we get that side-by-side, outside, inside action because the guy on that bottom lane who's leading the way. Oh, and they're wrecking under caution right now. Dylan Glass just spun down the racetrack. I don't know what happened there, but luckily no contact to anybody there when he spun down. But back to what I was saying there from that little bit of an incident. I'm interested to see how this works out here with the side-by-side action, because a lot of times you'll have that guy on the bottom groove kind of saving tires, checking up that inside lane, and not making a ton of speed down there trying to conserve their tires. So you get those people who really charge on the outside lane to make passes. Will that make the bottom a little bit better here, where people are going harder and looking to carry that momentum out and through into and out of the corners? I mean, we could see some crazy stuff right here, I think. Anything is open, and right now when we come by and we take that green flag, it's going to be 13 mirror laps to go. This is going to be pretty much 13 qualifying laps back to back to back.
That weird scenario under pacing was the one just driving right through Dylan Glass over the radio. Nate Lynch saying, I did not see you there. Seemed to be some internet connection issues maybe between those two drivers and not being able to see one another, but the one just drove right through the 29. That's what sent him spinning out under pacing. Didn't look like it was too hard of contact, so I don't think the drivers will be dealing with too much damage, but tire wear usage gonna be given to that of the 29 as you see the flags be switched, the green one in hand, as we're getting ready for the Vegas High Roller 200 here at Vegas. It's going to be a 13-lap dash. Will we see another caution? Let's find out. Let the chaos reign here at Vegas as we're green once again.
Great start for Kyle McCoy. This is what he needs. He needs to get out front, get to the lead, and he's going to try to go put himself in victory lane, and that's a bad sign for the rest of the field. If he can go out there and get in the victory lane, that starts the momentum that this 28 really needs.
A little bit of a stack up in the middle of the group. They're going to be 3 wide with that of Andrew Medlin all the way in that 3rd lane. Up front, Kyle McCoy leading the charge. Ross Tatum side by side with Scott Rickard. This is helping out that 28 machine. That of Jason Bradden going to be just mired in 4th place. For drivers that are on the move, going to watch out for the 5 as that of Andrew Hess, hoping to make his movements and to honestly just be known up front in any way. But the 8 of Bradden just has a wall in front of him, nowhere to go for himself.
I would not be surprised if we start seeing the times flash through here these next few laps of drivers putting down their fastest laps of the race. Everybody, nothing to save, nothing to lose. It's all go here from the end of this race, and we're going to have 11 to go when they cross the line. Loose for the 32 of Rickard there out of 4. Almost contact between him and the 21, but he hangs on like a champion.
He hangs on, and now going to be seen also side by side behind them. Hess and Bratton going to be just trying to settle where they can be as the 32 center of the corner. Thought the 21 was going to come up. It forced both drivers to move up the lane. Almost grazing the wall was the 32, forcing that of Tatum to drop down. And it's Kyle McCoy. He's just loving it. He's seeing all this aggression behind him, but no pressure on the 28. Coming to 10 laps to go here tonight at Vegas. Who could make this late charge? Because as they continue to stay side by side, I mean, Zach, this is just hurting their any chance to get at Kyle McCoy.
You're exactly right, Sam. This is a beautiful sight to see if you're Kyle McCoy. This is what you want to happen. He just ran his fastest lap of the race, and he's driving away right now from the drivers behind him. And when you stay side by side like that, it's able to take the side draft and look at that, the 32 clear. Now, can he start to get the charge going forward? Because he's got a limited amount of time here with 9 laps to go this time by.
Winner from last week, Andrew Hass, now going to be hitting underneath the 21 that we're riding on board with. You're about to see the nose of that of the 5 machine as he is trying to get this Kellogg's up front is Andrew Hess. He's not able to get the pass done just yet. Trying to do a slide job move, not fully clear, still side by side. Kyle McCoy over a half a second gap lead over that of Scott Rickard, and Rickard needs to find another gear. 9 laps to go, coming to 8 to go at the line, and here comes Juan Jimenez going to be adding his name into the hat as he's now closed in on our top 5.
No longer saving tires. Juan Jimenez finding pace here, and that last time by, he was the 2nd fastest of the top 10 drivers. The only driver faster than him was Kyle McCoy. Can Jimenez get himself a top 5 here tonight? That would be a great showing in his 2nd start.
His 2nd start, trying to get his first top 5 of the season, and hoping for some type of magic here this evening as the 32 going to be riding high. Ross Tatum trying to close in on the gap to get by for 2nd place and have an opportune chance. 7 to go, and Kyle McCoy, once again, another burner of a lap time, but it's starting to equal out here. Zach, did the 28 maybe push it a little bit too early?
It can happen. It can really happen. I mean, yeah, we only had 13 laps to go once this race took off. But I will say this, if we get a caution and we get this race brought back together, that's where he could run into issues, in my opinion. They're going to have to really have the charge up to him to run him down, and they did gain a good bit this lap. But I will say, if we get a caution and you burn those tires or heat those tires up a little too much compared to the guys behind you, you could be a sitting duck when we go back green.
I was talking about cautions. I'm keeping my eyes out for those that are just inside of the top 10. That's where a lot of aggression of drivers side by side is showing, with Diego Valle able to finally clear himself from Tim McNally, Andrew Medlin, and also that of Jonathan Woods. These four drivers have been on top of one another and almost making contact multiple times. It's Tim McNally that's been the innocent victim on the outside lane, who just continues to get pushed up higher and higher off the exit of the corners, but somehow they don't make contact. They continue to push on as Jonathan Woods now going to get to the 18's back bumper and now to the inside.
Whew, close stuff there. I think you always got that knack, Sam, for predicting where the yellow will be. And you're exactly right, because this is the spot I've been watching, keeping my eye on, seeing how they race each other, because this very well could end up coming down to a caution. Is looking at almost contact between the 12 and the 41s. They exit off a 4, but they keep it close, but keep it green here for now with 4 laps remaining.
4 laps to go, and also Dylan Glass going to get into the mix to see if he can crack into the top 10 before this race is over. If he can get by that of Tim McNally in the 12, that's a top 10 for that of the 29 machine. As one of the drivers, though, inside of our top 10, up to that of 6th place, it's Juan Jimenez having his best run. His debut race was last week at Atlanta. Here tonight, trying to get a top 5 finish for the 48 as he gets to the inside of one of our fan favorites of Jason Radden. It's the 48, it's the 8, side by side for that of 5th position, and as well side by side for 2nd with 3 to go.
Yeah, Ross Tatum fighting back on Scott Rickard. He wants to be able to get himself up into the top 2 positions, and he knows if anything, they're not running down Kyle McCoy here if it stays green. He just wants to get a better position than that 3rd place and continue to make points, because they need anything to gain on Scott Rickard, who has just been so consistent all season with those 3 wins. He's looking to gain what he can here at Las Vegas.
Trying to gain the best that he can as that of the 28 doing his best to just hold out. 2 more laps to go, and the gap is over a second with this duel for 2nd place on screen continuing on. The 32, just a better run off the exit of the corner that's allowing him to keep this position. But out of turn number 4, Kyle McCoy has looked solid, he's looked clean, and ever since the last restart, he's been the driver to watch out for as the freaky fast white flag is out of the air. This machine is looking good into turn number 1.
Almost less than 1 mile to go now for the 28 as he's going to come out of 2. He sees what's going on in his mirror. He just needs to be clean here off these exits, and he'll come back the victor here down the back straightaway for the final time as Kyle McCoy looks to get into victory lane for the first time this season.
It was back in season 1 where Kyle McCoy found himself in a victory lane. This car, this track, well, all the way now to season 6, same car, same track, giving a win for the 28 of Kyle McCoy.
What a job by him. He loved what he saw there from that yellow. I think that set him up here to have track position, have the lead, and he held control of this race. Ross Tatum able to fight back this second there, just over Scott Rickard by a couple hundredths of a second. Andrew Hess is going to come in 4th. Jason Gratton holds off Juan Jimenez for 5th, and Jimenez still a good run there in 6th.
Yeah, I mean, he got to lead a couple of laps. He also got to show his long run pace. I'm excited to see what this 48's going to do as we get deeper into that of the middle of the season. As we're closing in on playoff time, it might be a little bit too far for the 48 to make the playoffs, but it was great to see his action. But Zach, we touched on it in the middle of the broadcast, middle of the race. It was always when we're creeping closer and closer to the playoffs, that's when we start to see Kyle McCoy hit his mark, and it starts here tonight. A win for that of the 28, and he continues on his winning ways, the most winningest driver in Stars and Stripes history. Mark it in the history books. It continues to grow here this evening. As the 28 continues to burn it down, we'll step aside. When we come back, we'll talk to that Kyle McCoy, Ross Tatum, our top 2, and a spotlight driver just in a few moments. We'll see you for our post-race show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, as well as Rob Moore, Jr. running productions in the background. You just got to see the Stars and Stripes throwback season that number 6, race 9 here at Vegas for the Vegas High Roller 200. Kyle McCoy gets himself into victory lane, and for the 28 machine, what a run it was. Came down to a late caution, but he gets himself into victory lane just like he did all the way back in season 1. Let's head to victory lane. Kyle McCoy, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. I mean, this track, this car, you get yourself into victory lane for the first time this season. How are you feeling after that one?
Man, it feels good. It feels good to be back. That was a tough one. I had two really sharp drivers right behind me that kind of had to hold off the whole way, which was, I mean, challenging, but yeah, super fun. I'm really happy. It's been a little bit, so yeah, nice to be back on top for once.
That it is, Kyle, man. Congrats on the win. And how has the transition been back to this car here? And do you feel like you're finally starting to get in that swing? We know you can't make every race, but how has that transition been? Because it seems like each week you're starting to find more and more pace back in that 28 machine.
I know, I'm used to that too. Yeah, I'm starting to figure it out. Like you said, it's been a little bit spotty, which has made it difficult to kind of get in a groove. And like last week, where you're trying to find the edge on it, and sometimes I've overstepped the edge a little bit in this car. So I felt like I ran a controlled race tonight, which was nice, but controlled at the right moments. Right, it was weirdly packy, and kind of had to had to be on the gas most of the time, and making sure you didn't let anybody underneath of you or get too close. And so yeah, it was nice. I felt really comfortable. This track's always been really good to me in officials, and I told Nate before we started that, I mean, for whatever reason, ever since the first season, it's been kind of slow going here. So I love Vegas, and I'm really happy to win here again.
I mean, Kyle, we're starting to head into kind of an odd spree here coming into this next couple of races in the schedule, as we're going to be going to that at Nashville Fairgrounds next week. Then Chicagoland is going to be a lot more of a traditional mile and a half, but then it just goes the Five Flag race, the Five Flag Speedway, as well as Darlington, North Wilkesboro, and then Talladega to finish out the regular season. How are you feeling for the rest of this regular season? And as well, another question on top of that, why is it always the end of the regular season that you start to perform and find those victories?
Yeah, that's kind of been a weird trend, I guess. I think, to be honest with you, I think it's kind of the way the schedule lays out. A lot of these tracks kind of fall in, I don't want to say the same spot because we've been switching it up, but similar areas of the schedule. So sometimes you get to my bread and butter a little later on, which is fun. I'm excited. I don't have a shot at the playoffs, so I'm just here to win races, and I actually look forward to that a lot, and I think the schedule is really cool. I'm a little worse on short tracks. I feel like a lot of my driving characteristics do not do well there, so I'm excited to see how I run and try to make some improvements there. And I think some of the racing we got ahead is really cool. I mean, National Fairgrounds, Wilkesboro, Five Flags, those are, I mean, just classic short tracks. Somebody said in our chat that everybody's going to have a ton of fun or all hate each other after we're done. And I think it's going to be a little bit of both. So I'm super pumped. And definitely looking forward to Chicagoland too. That's always my home track, and I like to have a good showing there. So I like the next couple tracks coming up. We'll see how we run. This league's more competitive than ever, and I'm looking forward to it.
Certainly is competitive, and you get yourself in victory lane. It's great to see you back there again, Kyle. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Thanks, man. Shout out to Nate and George and Derek, my teammates here this year. I've been letting them down a little bit, but hopefully we can make up for it during the second half of the year and start racking off some wins. We'll see how that goes. But shout out to you guys for putting on some great broadcasts. I always love watching. I love watching all the racing during the week. You guys always have good stuff on there to turn on when I'm bored, so I like that a lot. Yeah, shout out to the guys who run this league. We're kind of still kicking strong after losing some guys last year, and just a testament to how well the league's run and how clean the drivers are in here. I think we had 2 or 3 yellows tonight, so yeah, kind of get our feet under this car and start putting on some good racing the second half of the year. I hope you guys are excited.
Certainly are excited for the rest of the year here, Kyle. Congratulations on this win. Good luck next week at short track racing at Nashville Fairgrounds, and hopefully you can find yourself with a good finish there.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
As we go from that of victory lane, let's head to second place, where it was just as chaotic coming to the end for that of Ross Statham and Scott Rickard. But second place had to go to one of the two, and it went to the 21 of Ross Statham. Ross and Sam and Zach up at the booth. Congratulations on second place. That was a great duel to watch between yourself and Scott. But man, how are you feeling after your performance here tonight?
A little bummed, honestly. I kind of wanted to go green there at the end. Kind of sucks that caution came out, but second again. So first loser again. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. But that me racing Scott there at the end definitely made it impossible to catch Kyle. But it's just late racing, and hopefully I'll get a win soon on Freaky Fast. That'd be good.
Yeah, I think that win's right around the corner for sure for you, Ross fan. You're always up front running good. How tough was it to pick and choose the management of the tires here tonight? Because it seemed like we had a few drivers that really went into super save, I'd say, mode and lost a lot of track position and kind of never gained it back. Then a few other drivers that kind of just rode in those top 5 positions, kind of saving. So take us through that, because it definitely seemed like you had to save a little bit, but you couldn't give up too much time either.
Yeah, these cars are super weird. They're probably my least favorite on iRacing. First couple of races of the season, I definitely figured out that saving tires really doesn't matter as much as it did in like the next gen or the Xfinity car. You might as well go kind of hard, probably about 85, 90%, keep your track position because almost everyone's falling off to the same point. The only way you're not falling off more is if you like blow a tire or something. So it's interesting. It's definitely taken me half the season to figure it out. I know I got the win at Rockingham, but like these mile and a halfs, it's taken me a while. So it's a lot of it's definitely the weirdest car on iRacing.
Well, we do have a mile and a half that's coming up here in the next couple of weeks at Chicagoland. But, Ross, tonight we got to see a lot of different factors of racing. Now we get to test our skills at short track racing next week at Nashville Fairgrounds. How are you feeling going to a track that, for some, it's going to be a narrow and who knows what's going to happen type of a race?
Yeah, Nashville's going to be tough. It's pretty much a one lane track. You can kind of run the bottom, kind of run the middle. But to make a pass, it's going to be tight. It's probably going to be a few wrecks next week. It's going to be a lot of track position. It's pretty free there from what I remember. It's going to be a little bit of a loose setup, a lot of wheel spin, so it'll be interesting. I think you're definitely going to have to keep your rear tires on it next week, so that's going to be very important. But should be a lot of fun. This league is probably, it's one of the cleanest leagues I've ever ran in. A lot of long green flag runs. So if we have that next week, it should be a pretty good race.
For it to be clean next week, and we can continue to see some great racing. As so, Ross, before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Thanks, guys. Obviously, got to thank Coca-Cola. Everybody go buy Coke Zero tomorrow. Uh, and then I got to thank Freaky Fast. You guys are the best. Everybody, you guys know it. You guys are the best. I love the podcast y'all put out a couple weeks ago. That was awesome. It was really cool hearing from the different leagues. Um, got to thank my teammates, Will, Ed, and Jonathan. Will had a little tough luck there. Ed had some tough luck too before the race. And Jonathan ran a really good race. So I'm proud of him. And got to thank everyone who watches. Got to thank Next Level Racing and Buttkicker for sponsoring the league, and just everyone who watches.
That's going to be the 21 machine of Ross Statham coming away with a second place finish. Congratulations on that, and good luck in Nashville next week.
Thanks, guys.
As we go from second place, hey, let's listen to and talk to our spotlight driver here tonight. Had one of his best performances in a long time. Led the most laps he's ever led in any race so far in Stars and Stripes history, but comes away shy. Let's talk to the 40 machine of Aaron Hale with us. Aaron, you got to be up front. You look like a major threat. 7th place is where you're going to finish. But man, how are you feeling after this performance here tonight?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. I think this is probably one of the few races where I've got up there and actually led some laps legitimately, not on a green flag pit cycle. So feels really good. I qualified way better than I thought I would. I usually qualify toward the back and kind of a long run guy, but these cars are hard to pass. So I was like, well, I'm just going to send it this week and see what happens. And I pulled out to that, second and a half lead, whatever it was on that first run. And Kyle was kind of standing back there. I was like, man, this is too good to be true. And then and he caught me, but couldn't really go by. And then we had a lot of fun there after that restart, mixing it up, and just some. I wore my tires out there toward the end, fell right back, and had to pit early on that last pit cycle. So I was hoping there would be a caution that came out when I had the lead, so I could be in control of the restart. That didn't work out, and then I was still setting up maybe for a top 5 finish. That's what I was hoping for, and then slipped through my pit stall and lost a few spots there. So that was kind of it for me. But yeah, I'm happy with the run overall tonight.
Yeah, definitely was a good run there, Aaron, man. So congrats on that, leading some laps tonight, being very, very quick. And we kind of heard a similar sentiment from Ross there about how it's tough to pass and kind of saving just doesn't get it done in this car. So do you feel like you're going to kind of carry that style over here into the next few races?
Yeah, I don't think I have a choice. I think I'm gonna have to go kind of outside my comfort zone like we did tonight, and just push it. Got to find the balance there. Toward the end of the run, I used up way too much, so maybe dial it back a little bit early on. But yeah, overall, I think we just got to push and hope for some late restarts like we had tonight, and maybe be in a spot where we have some better track position and can capitalize toward the end.
Well, Aaron, I gotta say, it just makes me excited to see how the rest of the season's gonna perform out for you after tonight's performance. I hope that this momentum continues forward. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, first off, I want to apologize to Juan there in the last restart. I got him jacked up a little bit getting into turn 1. I knew we had to get all we could get there, so didn't mean to do that. Just wanted to have as much momentum to the corner and coming down the backstretch as we could. Luckily, he was able to hold on to it. Shout out to my teammates, Timmy, Kevin, and Kyle. Great team to be with each and every week. And finally, shout out to my wife, Audrey, and 2 sons, Jason and Jet.
Well, that's going to be the 40 machine of Aaron Hale coming away again with the 7th place finish. But man, I'm excited to see what you're going to do, Aaron, moving forward. And good luck next week as we head to Nashville Fairgrounds.
Thanks. Hope to talk to you soon.
Hope to talk to you as well as we go from interviews to what the results were here this evening with our unofficial results at that Las Vegas for the Vegas High Roller 200 tonight. Man, what a run. They were on top of one another practically the whole entire night, and it came down to a 13-lap shootout to get there at the end. But man, Kyle McCoy getting it done with that 28 machine in first place. Ross Tatum, Scott Rickard, their duel comes to that of the 21, getting 2nd place. Third goes Scott Rickard. Andrew Hess going to take away 4th, with 5th going to Jason Gratton. Juan Jimenez going to be taking away that as 6th. Gotta say that 48. I'm also excited to see what he's gonna do with Aaron Hale getting 7th. Diego Valle gonna get 8th. Continues on with his under the radar performances for the 77, with Jonathan Woods having his 2nd best run of the season, and Tim McNally coming away with the top 10 finish.
Yeah, and as we look through the rest of this leaderboard, definitely some tough nights all around from this group back here. And the one that I kind of scratched my head most is our pole setter, Joshua Robinson. I mean, just immediately dropped out of the lead position, fell back outside the top 10, and kind of just never recovered all night long. So a tough break there for the 10 machine after having a good 2 past weeks. We'll see if he can come back to Nashville Fairgrounds and get something figured out there for that machine. As the rest of the board there was drivers who had some tough breaks. But hey, Las Vegas, I think it was a fantastic race, Sam.
It certainly was. We got to see a lot of different strategy calls there under the green flag pit stops, but as well, those green flag runs with fresh rubber was a blast to see. Drivers on top of one another, and then later on in the runs when they would spread out, but then the accordion right back to one another. It was a blast to see, and Las Vegas did not disappoint as we got to see a great run last night for Wicked Racing League, and here tonight for the Stars and Stripes. What a destination for both of these leagues as they put on a great show. But it's Kyle McCoy getting the victory. But for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we got more coverage still this week as we're going to be heading for that of the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series as they're heading to short track racing. It's North Wilkesboro going to be for Saturday night. That one is going to be an interesting one because drivers are unsure if they're going to be playing nice or if they're going to get a little bit gloves out and get some elbows out as well on how to run one another. Then on Monday, we get the ISRC Truck Series. They're going to be testing out dirt racing as they come back to dirt action, testing at a new track, the most recent dirt track added to iRacing at Port Royal. Then on that of Tuesday, you're going to be seeing that of the Full Send series as their truck action gets ramped right back up. Wednesday is off as they for that of the Wicked Racing League, but then we're right back here next week. Going to be that of Nashville Fairgrounds, and the Fairgrounds, Zach. I mean, that track, like we heard, it's one lane, but it's a short track where anything could happen at that course.
I'm very intrigued by that track. I haven't ran a lot of laps there myself as a driver, but I think it could end up being a pretty wild race. The bumps, the narrow groove there, it really sets up for a certain specific style that you have to have as a driver that I'm not sure, who's going to have that. I think it's a track that we could see a new winner come out of there. We could see another new pole setter. I mean, it's got plenty of opportunity there at Nashville, and we'll see who can master the short tracks here in the ARCA car.
Can't wait for it. The Arkham Machines did it again, and Kyle McCoy back into victory lane, just like we've seen in so many other seasons. It's awesome to see that 28 getting that job done. But for us here tonight, thank you for joining us on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For myself, Sam Dyer, for that is Zach Hall, for as well that of Robert Moyer, who ran production this evening, and everyone else at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you for joining with us on your Thursday evening. We'll see you Saturday night for that of the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series at that of North Wilkesboro. We'll see you then at our next broadcast.